Welcome to the Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. Every week, we're going to bring you powerful stories and strategies from leaders who are making a real impact by building stronger, more resilient communities. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and equipped with the tools to thrive in both your personal and professional life.
Hi, everybody. I'm Beth Almaris, and I'm with the Foundation for Family and Community Healing. Our organization is really dedicated to helping individuals and organizations build strength and resilience through skill-building education. I'm really excited to talk to somebody else that's also involved in training and personal growth and professional development, and that's Shawn Campbell, who's the director at Victory Strategies. How you doing, Shawn?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Beth.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I'm really glad you're going to come and share some of your story. I know folks are really going to enjoy the conversation. So you ready to get started?
I am.
All right. So can you give me a brief overview of your organization, kind of like the size, what you do, your ideal clients?
Victory Strategies is a leadership development firm. We're comprised of, at this point, about 30 practitioners. These are, by practitioner, I mean these are experts at leadership. We are a collection of people who come from Fortune 500 C-suites, people who have owned small, very successful family-run businesses. We have an Olympian, former Olympian on our team. We have a former Olympic coach on our team. We have a number of Navy SEALs who are on the team. We have some Top Gun fighter pilots, and then we have a couple of other retired general officers like myself who are part of this team. We have somewhere close to about 500 years of collective experience, and our ideal candidates are anybody who wants to improve their leadership capability, whether you're someone who is a C-suite executive all the way across your organization to the front lines where you're serving and supporting your customers, whether you're private industry, public industry, for-profit, nonprofit. It's really anybody who wants to improve their leadership skills.
That's fantastic. What an interesting mix of folks.
It's a fantastic mix of folks. And you probably know there are any number of leadership and developmental firms that you can certainly go with. Some of my friends and former colleagues are in different leadership development teams. But I think what makes us unique is what I just described. Typically, you'll go to a leadership firm, for example, and they'll be comprised wholly of former military members. And so our CEO is very deliberate about, I want to get people from various walks of life and experiences and blend them all together. So no matter where you are organizationally, we can align our people to you, and we don't assign people to you, meaning you choose amongst all of our teammates who you think is the best to align to a leadership executive coach, or who would like to come in and do an on-site leadership development program, down to who would you like amongst our team to come in and deliver a keynote or to do some direct work with your teammates wherever they happen to be. So it's a really great way for us to find what each organization needs that's unique to their own requirements.
Yeah, that's great. That's the ability to tailor to meet individual needs is really important. So you've been in the field for a bit. How would you say that leadership has changed over the years? Leadership development, rather.
Let me take this in two ways. The first is that it was very surprising to me a number of years ago as I started to do more research and analysis on leadership and just the dearth of leadership in organizations. At the time, I had been working on talent management innovation for the United States Air Force, and I went to a number of Fortune 500 companies thinking these are the names that you know. They're probably in your portfolio, you probably use their products and services, and I was surprised to learn that many of them don't have leadership development programs. So it sort of surprised me. So what has changed, though, I think, is that those organizations and many others realized, perhaps in part because of the pandemic, we really need to focus on leadership development. That leadership isn't an every person is going to be a leader in our organization, formally or informally, but anyone who's going to be put into a formal position, it would behoove us as an organization to put some investment in developing leadership skills, in part because there are more things we're asking our leaders to do at all levels in organizations than perhaps at any point in human history. And so that requires more deliberate and deep development of the men and women inside their organizations.
Yeah, really true. Yeah, I think COVID was an eye-opener for pretty much every field, at every level. It really kind of turned us all on our heads. It gave some really interesting and useful perspectives, I think. So let's talk a little bit more about your company. So it's fully remote?
So it's fully remote. Our executive coaching alignments are done remotely, and depending on which type of alignment you have contracted for, it may also include an in-person once a year session. So again, it depends on the type of vehicle that you procure. The team building exercises that we do are in person. So if you want us to come in and do, that's all done in person. Depends on what your requirements are. It could be, it's an afternoon session. It could be you have some or several of our teammates on site for a couple of days. That depends on what you're looking for. And then we have a really unique offering, what we call the Accelerate Leadership Academy, which is more than 40 leadership lessons that you take digitally distributed. They're about 10 to 15 minute sessions. And at the end of the completion, you will receive a master's level certificate in having completed that. And so that runs through a variety of, as you would think, leadership lessons, but for yourself, for your team that you lead or are a part of, and for your organization with an idea towards growth in all of those areas. And so that is a completely online delivery.
So on the flip side of that, how as an organization do you guys really take care of and look at the health and well-being of your own staff and your own employees? So their health and well-being and their leadership development. Like, what does that look like for a leadership development organization?
Right. It's really a great question. And I know that all of the men and women that are part of our team have the 4 pillars of resiliency really present for them. So social, spiritual, mental, and physical. And we do focus on that. Our CEO, our COO often will challenge us to make sure that we're taking care of those pillars of resiliency. Like any world-class organization, we have routine check-ins at least once a week. We get on collectively. And for teammates that aren't able to participate in those sessions, we always record it so they can go back and get the replay. And then we have a one time a year on-site where we bring the entire team together. And we do team building exercises there. We take all of our meals together. We exercise together. So it's the same thing, that we're really paying attention to those resiliency pillars. And unsurprising, resiliency is something that we teach. It's a very important part of the leadership toolkit. So it's in our Accelerate Leadership Academy, and we have some upcoming on-sites where we're going to be working on well-being. And so we practice what we preach inside our organization.
That's great. What would you say are some of the challenges facing organizations that are really interested in bringing leadership development to their employees?
I think that there are several key facets. The first is really understanding how to deliver it. So leadership isn't as simple as read this book or read that resource and now you're a practitioner. So I like to think of it in terms of what is the principle and what's the practice. And so we'll teach you the principles. So we'll take teamwork as a principle. We'll not just define it for you and help you understand what that really looks like in world-class application. It's here's some examples of how you do that. So that we're giving you practical steps for how you can apply those things yourself. And so it's just understanding we're not coming in like a traditional learning and development program. You get 8 hours of training, get a certificate at the end, and now you're an expert in it. We think of leadership more as a continuous learning journey. You will get better the more you learn and the more you apply. So like that old adage of all leaders are readers, but not all readers are leaders. If you're leading and you're reading, you also should be applying and sharing that knowledge with those around you. So it's really helping people get past, this is not your training program, bring in X organization, we develop you, and then we leave and you never hear from us again. The way that Victory Strategies looks at this is we want to develop a long-term relationship with your organization and with your leaders. We're not coming in to do a one-time with you. That's not our preferred methodology. We want to develop that relationship with you. So that's the second piece, is recognizing you may not be with us, let's say, for 20 years, but we want you to develop a real relationship with us over some longer period of time. So we continue to be where your organization is adapting and new things that they're adopting, and how we can bring that to you. And then also understanding that leadership can come in a bunch of different ways. Like all people in your organization, some are going to be visual learners, some are going to be auditory learners, some are going to be a mix of those kinds of things. So it's also bringing in different mediums where we can do the on-site with you and you get that more tactile in-person experience, but you also have these digital distributed modules that are available, all of which, if you want us to come in and discuss those principles and lay out those principles with your teams, we can do that in person as well. So I offer maybe this way, wherever your organization is, we'll find a way to adapt to meet your requirements to develop the leaders around your organization.
That's great. This has been a really great conversation, Shawn. Where can folks find you if they want to follow up?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, Shawn, SHAWN, Campbell, CAMPBELL. So you can certainly connect with me there on LinkedIn, or you can go to our website, www.victorystrategies.com. And you will not only find me there, you'll see all of our teammates there, and you can read some things about us, and you'll learn about that great Olympian we have on the team, or one of our Fortune 500 former executives, or if you really want to click my tile, you can learn a little bit more about me there as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a great conversation, and I know folks are going to be really interested. And thank you to our listeners. I'll see you next time.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today on our Rise Together podcast weekly hot take series. We hope you've been inspired by today's stories and strategies for building stronger, more resilient communities. Remember, resilience isn't just about bouncing back. It's about growing through every challenge to become bigger and better. If you've enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with somebody who could benefit from these insights. Stay connected, stay resilient, and we'll see you next time.